receive and pass the report on Nigerian civil aviation. In doing that, Mr. President, permit me to brief our colleagues and your humble self, Mr. President, that this bill is a bill that seeks to amend some few but very critical clauses of the Nigerian civil aviation. The bill seeks, Mr. President, among other things, to empower the civil aviation to cover up some of the lapses within the aviation industry as it affects civil aviation in the aviation industry. Mr. President, some of the critical issues are issues that border on security. This bill seeks to empower the Nigerian civil aviation to be able to inspect aircraft before they take off and to a large extent when they land. In doing this, Mr. President, the civil aviation officials will be able to report their findings, if it's so compelling, to the appropriate authorities for further action. Mr. President, some of the chartered flights you see are flights that are being used to perpetuate and to encourage corruption and indeed some level of insecurity in our country. It may interest you, Mr. President, that some people, what they do is to get a charter flight, and when they get the plane that they have chartered, it is assumed that there is no need for anybody to carry out any inspection inside the aircraft. Mr. President, let me go let you know that even some of the private jets that you see around, they are being used for some smuggling of mineral resources. They are being used for economic sabotage in this country. This is something that is difficult to say, but Mr. President, the truth is, there comes a time when you speak the truth to your nation. Many of the aircraft you see people are having a chartered flight. What they do is to use them to perpetuate corruption and economic sabotage to our nation. This bill, Mr. President, is one of the bills that we have to curb some of these excesses and abuse and economic sabotage. When people charter planes, there's nobody enter the aircraft to inspect. So this bill is seeking to empower the civil aviation to be able to look at each aircraft before they take off, so that when they see things that are capable of threatening the peace and stability of our nation, they can report. When they see a situation where somebody is undermining the economic strength of our nation, they are reported. So this bill is very important and very critical. And this bill, Mr. President, is equally encouraging the Nigerian civil aviation to be able to establish a training school and to be able to expand their scope of operation to cover all the airports and the airstrip and the airdromes. Today we have quite a number of airstrips that needs to be policed because aircraft can be used to perpetuate any instability in any nation once you have a landing facility. But you need the manpower to be there. Essentially, Mr. President, this bill is very important and very critical, and it's a bill that the two chambers have worked on, and we have seen the advantage for our nation. Mr. President, I so submit.
Any seconder? Senator Yayi, please. Second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that a bill for an act to repeal the Civil Aviation Act 2006 and to enact the Civil Aviation Act for the regulation of civil aviation in Nigeria to inspect any aircraft that is landing or taking off of our country. I would say it's a welcome development. If for that reason alone, I am in total support of this bill. Mr. President, for those who are frequent flyers all over the world, you will quite agree with me that the state of some of the airlines or planes that are used in Nigeria are nothing to write home about. I don't want to start mentioning names, but I strongly believe that aside this bill, the Senate Committee on Aviation should invite all relevant authorities that are saddled with this responsibility to ask why there is this disparity. The plane that will take you from Lagos to either United Kingdom or US is different from the plane. If you look at the plane and compare the two, that the one that will take you from London to the US, why this disparity? Why this lopsidedness? This is one area that is so critical that we cannot continue to play a third-class citizen. Our committee should investigate all these airlines. And if this bill tends to empower NCAA or any relevant agencies of the government starting with this responsibility, I'm in total support of it. So, Mr. President, I so second and I support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those in favor that the Senate do consider the report of the Committee on Aviation on the Civil Aviation Act 2006 Repeal Act and Reenactment Bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. In the report of the Committee on Aviation on the Civil Aviation Act 2006 Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2022 and approved as follows. The long title as recommended. The number of clauses 1 through 116 as recommended. Interpretation, clause 117 as recommended. Short title, clause 118 as recommended. Schedules 1 to 2 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Yeah. The ayes have it. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the Civil Aviation Act 2006 and to enact the Civil Aviation Act for the regulation of civil aviation in Nigeria and for related matters 2022 SB 195, third reading.
A bill for an act to repeal the Civil Aviation Act 2006 and to enact the Civil Aviation Act for the regulation of civil aviation in Nigeria and for related matters 2022. Third reading, taken. The bill and passed into law. Leader of the Senate.